Unburdened wings. Despite Medion's words, Urianger cannot accept his comrade is gone. He just got closure from Moonbrita. I feel like Urianger's next. Soul without body, a form of being with which we are not wholly unfamiliar. Indeed, for we exist in a similar state when residing in the first. True. The circumstances are rather more dire than that, 'tis true, but I choose to believe he is not forever lost to us. Same. Regardless, in sacrifice he hath afforded us a chance to prevail. Let us not squander it, and ascertain the nature of this realm, that we might confront and defeat Meteon. Estinien, Zordia, would you accompany me in speaking with these dragons? Mayhap they can enlighten us. I would ask the rest of you to survey these surrounds. If there is a path that may lead us to our quarry, we must find it. Very well, we can reconvene here when everyone has finished. Meteon said these dragons are shadow and shade, from a world whose denizens sought oblivion. As such, they are not like to be amenable to company, let alone conversation, so please be careful. A visitor, not of this star. Could thy slender hands bring plague to our world, thy breath extinguish life's feeble flame, oh how we would adore thee. Alas, with time our flesh shall wither, our souls fade, and so we wait for its inexorable march unto oblivion. If thou art not come to hasten our demise, I bid thee leave us. We crave not companionship, only silence. Thou art unlike the others. This place ill befits thee. Do not tarry over long. Who are you? The telling of my tale alters not its course. If thou knowest my brethren once ruled these skies, will our kingdom return? Should I boast that I was first among our hunters? Will the comrades I failed live again? Nay, once I lived, and now I await the coming oblivion. Nothing more. This is not our home. To our home did come the metal demons, who of life and joy scoured it clean. These are mere bones, and among them do we rest our wings forevermore. Leave us now to our mourning, traveler. Thou wilt find no solace here. Gameplay. To dwell on the past yieldeth not. Our desire meant little to our destiny unless now, yet regrets find me nevertheless. Beyond this distant veil, paradise lost, so glorious, so beautiful. We were a proud and noble race, strength embodied. We knew only love before they came. Metal monstrosities of black and silver, no bonds of blood did they share, nor convictions did they have to guide them. Jeez, can you imagine if you did this without doing Omega raids? A crushing defeat. Never had we known such shame. Stilled now are the winds, though none could fill these wings burdened by ignominy. We fly no more, only sink into oblivion. Ere the metal came, my kin were many and splendid, elegant worms like unto ripples on the water, worms possessed of limbs so powerful as to rend the land in twain. Worms I have long since forgotten, faces lost to the tides of time. Drink not of this spring, tainted are its waters, and thy dainty form hath not the capacity to withstand it. Thou wouldst bid me speak. Folly. I observe the lesson of stone. I shall not fly, nor speak, nor roar, only watch and wait, and end. What one sight yet stirreth my blood, tempteth me to raise my voice in lamentation. Nol, the cradle of unsung dragons. No words, no songs are possessed of the weight to describe such tragedy. Go, if that be thy will, I shall remain. They led you here as well, did they? It was described to me as the source of their woes and proof of their end. I think I'm beginning to see why. It's a hatching ground. Oh. Or was. I've seen similar on Atheris. Midgard Somer's kind must once have lived and thrived in a place such as this. Vritra said his father was driven from their ancestral home by war and strife. This, then, is the fate of those who remained. Let's have a look around. Maybe these eggs have more to tell of what happened here. Gingerly lifting a large egg from the viscous mire, you peer inside and see a formless mass soaking in a pool of embryonic fluid. Your stomach turns as you return the egg to its resting place. Aww, fudge. A murky liquid has pooled inside this eggshell. The noxious photor is indicative of contamination. They were contaminated? Inside the shattered egg, you find the remains of an unborn dragon. The body has already begun to decompose. The gelatinous, half-dried membrane covering the corpse suggests it failed to emerge. That sound is... This egg appears to have been broken from the inside out. Perhaps the dragonette within succeeded in hatching. What's this? I thought all the eggs had been ruined. If the dragonette was indeed hatched, there's no sign of it here. Or its sire, for that matter. We should look for them. You start with the cliff tops, and I'll search the plains. Happy expansion, yeah, sure. I hope the dragon is alive, but in this kind of environment, it'd be lucky to be alive. Bereaved dragon. Warg! Malformed dragonette. Aw, damn. I have to kill the dragonette? Why? The boisterous howling hath been quieted. By thy hand, I presume. Everything all right? I thought I heard a dragon or something resembling one. I see what's happened here. Was that your child? Perhaps. Some eggs within Am's knoll are indeed mine. If life within one did quicken, the beast thou hast slain may be of my blood. Yet I do not recognize it, twisted and malformed as it is. Damn. Not a dragon in truth, but a reminder of our failure. A testament to our shame. Explain. They descended from the heavens, cold, heartless machines, and with them rode war and death. With fire and fury, rage and rancor, we gave answer. 'Twas a long and bloody battle, but only the beginning. Untold chaos and destruction swept over the star. In the end, the invaders were victorious. Yet when they looked upon their prize, they deemed it unfit for requisition. We were abandoned to our ruin. Damn. The survivors sought to put away their shame, to rebuild, a futile effort. In purest soil replete with aether did we once cultivate our nesting grounds. Aww. But our lands were barren, and any eggs nurtured in such desolation were fated to rot. What few survived to hatch emerge as abominations. We shall have no new progeny. But there are dragons among you capable of journeying to other stars. That there are. Many would make the attempt, each bearing a clutch of eggs. The richest stars were home to the harshest rulers, and the arrival of dragons incited contests for supremacy. When the fires faded, the wars lost and won, they too were reduced to ash and waste. 'Tis the curse of those who seek life, to be drawn into conflict, to conquer or be conquered. Damn, that sucks. A vicious cycle we now choose to break. We tire of conflict, of everything. We wait now in sweet, merciful silence, free from strife and suffering, still as stone. Wait! You claim your kind is doomed, but there is another star! They're not gonna listen. They want only to brood in silence, to be left alone with their grief until time itself comes to an end. The sole reward for senseless bloodshed, a pain I understand, and wish that I did not. What fools we are. But now isn't the time for such thoughts. The others will want to hear what we've learned. Come. With luck, they'll have learned something to help us devise a plan of action. I chanced to gain audience with several dragons ere we returned, though I expect their tales are much the same as those you heard.
Good to see you made it back in one piece. The more I see of this place, the more bewildering it becomes. Did your exploration prove eventful? Converse with any dragons?
We would hear what the dragons had to share with you, even if it's no different from what they told Oriange. It would have value. Were you able to establish any meaningful contact with the dragons? I see. They wish to escape what they perceive to be a cycle of conflict. Thank you, Zordia. Estinien. As for our part, I believe we are more acutely aware of our confines than before. We started by traversing the perimeter of the island to see if there might be a path leading off of it. Sadly, there was nothing to be found. There's no small amount of debris floating about. Could there be enough to serve as a bridge to lead us elsewhere? I considered that, and so I tried throwing a stone onto a potential platform to judge its integrity, but it never reached its mark. As it crossed an invisible threshold just beyond the boundaries of this island, it vanished, only to reappear above me and fall at my feet. I would not be too quick to presume that what we see outside this space is as it appears. Oh. This is an instance.
Which is why I returned to the Ragnarok and asked the Loperids to search for a potential path. However, the ship's instruments failed to provide conclusive data on the surrounding area. Till we know more, I think it too risky to attempt flying to another island. What Medion told us before, the emotions dictate reality here, might be the key, but I'm not entirely sure what emotion might manifest a bridge to lead us to safety.
We have to help the dragons. So what you're saying is, we've no way forward.
At present, aye. If it is indeed emotion that governs this island, perhaps it is not Meteons, but the dragons that hold us here.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
They tire of conflict, and have chosen a path of oblivion to escape it. Or rather, they have chosen no path at all, meaning there is no way for the dragons, or anyone here on this island to advance. Sound theory, disheartening though it may be.
Gotta help the dragons.
If that is the case, what recourse do we have? They are not like to be persuaded to help us. Their reasoning is built on a history of turmoil and strife. Without irrefutable proof, the future is not as bleak as they believe it to be.
We have Estinien and myself, Midgard Somer, awaken, arise.
Mayhap persuasion is not the answer.
Okay, never mind.
Meteon meant to unmake us, then and there on the Ragnarok, and she would have succeeded if not for Thancred's determination. She conceded it was strong enough to overpower the despair that otherwise rules Ultima Thule, and reshape it to a degree. Perhaps it can be done again in like manner, by overpowering the prevailing emotions. 'Twas Ultima Thule's architect, Meteon herself, against whom Thancred did pitch himself in a clash of wills, though I marked no leader among them. As such, I did chance to encounter a dragon possessed of despair far more potent than most. Potent enough, mayhap, to dictate the course for others, and thus their domain to follow. He spoke but few words, carefully chosen, their tone and timbre alone threatening to rend my heart in twain. Challenging his desire to remain may allow us to alter the island upon which we stand. Alas, I fear my vaunted rhetoric availed me not against his calcifying heart, but mayhap one of you will fare better. Then I shall guide thee. I'll end, they call him, in the dragon tongue,
thou wilt find him nearby, eyes fixed upon the water. Oh, didn't I just talk to him?
Well, what have we to lose? Let's get going.
I feel like someone is gonna sacrifice themselves. And I feel like it might be Estinien.
先ほど私が声をかけた時も、ああして塞いだご様子で、あまりお話を伺えなかったのです。
わかった。では私が。
いい。俺が話す。
Ooh, the music.
おい。お前も例によって
Oh,
語るのを待っている輩か。
Straight to the point, let's go, Estinien. Yo, I like his voice. His voice is great. I'm kind of glad we didn't bring Alpha, because that would have been awkward. Yo, I really like his voice. It's so guttural, it's great.
そうは言うがな。お前たちの仲間に俺たちの星までたどり着いた奴がいたぞ。そいつはそこで子を返し、子は多くの眷属を成して今なお悠々と蒼天をかけている。
Yes. Yes. Yes, but
そうだな。奴らは奪われたし、奪いもした。
But there's always a but. They're looking for excuses. Is it really breaking free of the wheel, though?
確かに。うちの星にもそんな道を選べる奴がいたら、俺は家族を失わずに済んだだろうよ。だがな、本当に平和を願ってる奴は、そんな風に何もかも諦めて、メソメソとくすぶっていたりしない。
You need to confront the conflict. It will forever follow.
理想を持って、ぶつかって、
There we go.
傷ついて。
Let's go, Estinien.
それでも、武器より先に手を差し伸べようとする。そうしてこそ悲しみの連鎖を断ち切れると、俺を救った男が命を張って示していた。お前たちのやっていることは高潔でも何でもない。ふてくされたガキの負け惜しみだ。
Let's go.
それっぽっちで譲れないものを背負って戦い抜いた俺とこいつを止められるものかよ。
Oh, I'm big proud of Estinien.
Estinien!
近寄るな。
I knew it. I knew it. See, they're taking all of them. One scion for each medion. Or media. I got chills. Then let me take your pain.
なるほどな。こいつがこの場所を行き止まりにしていた思いか。行け、相棒。
そんな、エスティニアンは。
They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. They're. Yo.
風が吹いてる。
Oh, Alfie.
動き出したんだ。ここはもう引き止まりじゃない。
Estinien knew. He knew.
作り変えたんだ。サンクレットがしてくれたように。
Don't let it be for nothing. Don't let it be for nothing.
エスティニアンが。
Aww.
アルフィノ。
行こう。
Oh.
風の吹く方へ。私たちを必ず先へ導いてくれるはずだ。
I give you a hug, Alfie. Music also changed. Okay. It's gonna be fine. It's going to be fine. See, we hope. The Scions are bringing hope. This is what JRPGs do. They do the sacrifice each one of your party members before the final showdown.
Must this always be the price paid for safe passage?
Who's gonna be next?
If I'd known this place would claim Estinien too, No, it's what had to be done. As by the beating of mighty wings doth wind blow, where dragons may ne'er again touch the sky, he and the shade he bore shall soar free. The wind has stayed the fog that covered this island, and the air, it no longer feels quite so stifling.
It's great that the two Scions that are less known for their thinking were the first ones to figure things out. It shows another side. They've learned so much. Thancred and Estinien both learned so much about emotions. They close themselves off emotionally, especially when you first meet them. And they show that bravado. They don't show emotion. So I'm curious as to who's next. I know that this is hallmark sign of a JRPG. This feels like a JRPG, guys.
Look there, the wind.
Oh, I forgot to give you a hug, Alfie. Aww.
This is Estinien's doing, I'm sure of it. We should ride its flow and see where it leads. Forgive me, Zordia, but could you go on ahead? I need a moment to gather my thoughts.
I give you a hug, Alfie. It's okay.
A powerful gale has delivered you to another island. The other Scions should arrive before long. He did it. He found a way forward for us.
Oh, chills!
The dragons remain trapped within a prison of their own making, lamenting the horrors of war. Yet Estinien knew them better than most. He was a man of honor and a dear friend, willing to fight to the very end for what he believed was right. And he is still fighting, Alfino, just like Thancred. Their sacrifices are why we can survive here, why we still have a chance to stop her.
Oh, your roommate cried during this part? Understandable. Unfortunately, I've played a fair few JRPGs that do this same thing. My emotions are steady for this. Although it's just to see the other Scions cry. That's to see Alphino cry. Sag.
Even in spirit, they're unwilling to give in to despair, and we mustn't either. Elisei is right. We must press on for their sake.
I feel like the next will either be one of these three. I feel like Elisei and Alphino will be last.
Though it pains me to say it, we can ill afford to stop and grieve our comrades' passing. No, there will be time enough after. To feign bravery with bold words is a simple matter, but without the strength of will to match, we are powerless against Dynamis. Not less than unshakable conviction will suffice, which makes me question if I am up to the task. No choice have we but to march onward, lest we squander their noble sacrifices. We have to keep going. Even if Estinien isn't here to see it, I'm sure Alphino would want to disappoint him.
Roads paved. Sacrifice. Oh, are the words going away? The words are less... readable. As Yashlin and Alcei said, we must continue. Notice the change in our surroundings. Perhaps this is the memory of an altogether different world. 'Twould be prudent to learn more of it, then. Tread carefully, lest we lose our footing in this sand. Okay, depending on what is going on, or what happens on this island, will determine which Scion is gonna be next. Yo! Like, this area is giving me big obviously, end of the world vibes. So profound, Zor! So profound! If you were worried about my vision, you needn't be. I can still see quite well. Another seemingly barren world. For mercy, the air is nowhere near as stale, but still quite dry. The sand will no doubt prove bothersome in due time. If not for the light emitted by these glyphs, I might well have overlooked this monolith. Sand! Sand everywhere! Is it Ariange's turn? Were it not for the violet crystal embedded in its surface, 'twould appear as ordinary stone. A curious script hath been etched upon them. Alas, it is not a language with which I am familiar. I cannot say I recognize it either. Nor I. The dragons, from what I recall, preserve their knowledge in song, and eschew the written word entirely, so we may assume this is the work of another race, one we have yet to encounter. Meteon claimed the dragon's world suffered a slow death, seeking the release of oblivion. What life we find here, like as not, doth wend its way toward a similar end. Fascinating as this script is, we will glean naught from what we cannot decipher. What do you suppose that is over there? I'm not sure. It's hard to make out at this distance, but its surface seems to bear the same crystals as this monument. Meaning there's a chance we may find whoever built them both. We should go and have a look. Come on. Interesting. Estinien is wind. Am I thinking too much? Thancred is, earth? Ooh, this music.
Hail, traveler.
Oh gosh. Are you gonna be okay, Alphido?
Hail, travelers. This is a most unexpected occurrence.
Oh, hello there. Is this your home?
Indeed it is.
Oh, wait. Are these the friendly the friendly monsters from 8 that you meet in 8 or 9? But specifically, this music kind of reminds me of 8. No, it reminds me of 9.
Indeed it is. Forgive me, I'd forgotten. An exchange of introductions is expected when first meeting those with whom one is unacquainted.
I was not expecting that.
When the vibration of vocal folds was still required to convey our thoughts and intentions, Ea, I believe, was the pronunciation used when referring to our people. Though it is not entirely applicable, given our present state, you are welcome to use this appellation. As for nomenclature to address my individual person, I believe it would be pronounced Kofkuj. Yes, Kofkuj of the Ea.
We have encountered beings that communicate intermittently through thought, but never one that is wholly without voice. I presume we are having this conversation via the medium of aether, or dynamis, as this space is suffused with vast quantities of it. Fascinating in either case.
I gather your response to my presence is positive, then? That is well, for there is something I wish to ask of you. Like yourselves, we Ea are aether-based life forms. Therefore, it may be surmised that your bodies are of comparable biologic composition to those we once possessed. I have a number of queries regarding your subjective perception of the 5 senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. In total, we have prepared 198,712,180,827.
Bruh. That's rather a lot, isn't it?
My apologies. I have omitted a great many details necessary to understand the nature of my request. Though we dispensed with our corporeal vessels long ago, we have rediscovered a need for the flesh, and have endeavored to recreate our erstwhile forms. However, all pertinent records have been lost due to the passage of time. Take, for example, the nervous system. It is well within our power to recreate, but we have no frame of reference for sensation once experienced by our people, which may compromise our ability to interact with our physical environment.
And the reason you need to regain corporeal forms?
Why, to bring an end to our existence, of course. Though need is perhaps too strong a word. It would be a simple matter to unmake ourselves through use of etheric exsanguinators, but such a death seems inadequate. The traditionalists among us believe proper death requires an inescapable sense of impermanence in one's final moments, an experience found only with bodies of flesh.
We should very much like to hear more of your plans. In exchange, we will answer any questions you have to the best of our ability.
Such an exchange of information would indeed prove useful. Very well, to ensure efficacious exchange, I hereby invite you to our home. Yes, the abode of the Iya, where we traditionalists prepare for our demise. I presume your consent to answer questions is indicative of a tacit approval of our plans, in which case your cooperation is greatly appreciated. I must caution you, however, to be mindful of the Aya wandering the desert. Their desire for bodies of flesh can be described as overzealous. Now, if you would follow me...
This is going rather smoothly, not that I'm complaining, mind. Even so, we mustn't forget their aim is oblivion, much like the dragons. Though I fail to see why a civilization so seemingly advanced would choose to unmake all they have created. At any rate, we will find no answers dallying here. Let us be on our way. Why do I feel like it's gonna be Y'ashtola? It might be Y'ashtola this time. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! That's cool. The Isle of Dragons was shrouded in the silence of the dead, yet the stillness here doth suggest the Aya are, by and large, merely sleeping. More violet-colored crystals. I cannot place my finger on it, but there is something unsettling about them. I should not be surprised their concept of a village is so different from ours, and yet... They said there would be others, but I don't know what I was expecting. Something tells me we have different definitions of the word abode.
Welcome to our abode. Most of our compeers, you will find, remain idle in their domiciles, though your quizzical expression indicates my phrasing is unclear. I speak, of course, of the violet crystalline constructs hanging from the stone structures there.
You say they remain idle, but what of your work to regain corporeal bodies?
An astute question, and understandable, yet given your finite nature, we have no desire to pursue our research, for it is no longer necessary. If in our idleness we are struck by sudden inspiration, we rise to pursue said inspiration to its conclusion. That is why I was present for your arrival, and why I continue to engage with you still. But while the others are not currently in motile state, rest assured they would not object were you to disturb their respite. You need only cast your thoughts toward one of their crystalline domiciles to communicate.
Are we attuned to these crystals? Cast your thoughts toward the crystalline domicile. But there is no response. I suppose there is a logic to creatures comprised of spiritual energy, utilizing crystals as living spaces. It is nevertheless surprising to see. Strange moaning comes and goes, but soon fades into silence. If I heard correctly, the Aya within these crystals says it will emerge from within shortly. Do you suppose they all appear as Kuf Kuj does? Despite my best efforts, mine overtures have elicited no response from this crystal. I can but assume its resident sleepeth most soundly, or so I hope.
Why seek our end, you ask? If you wish to know, I will tell you. Just a moment, I must remember. What form did I take when I last emerged?
Is it not strange they lack passion to research that which they desire above all else? If we are fortunate, the Aya residing in these crystals will shed light on this contradiction.
I've tried reaching out to whatever is inside this crystal, but all I can hear is sporadic moaning. You wish to speak? Very well, pray, a moment if you would. Did your inquiries yield satisfactory responses? I see. If they fail to answer, then it is likely because their minds have unraveled due to prolonged idleness. They are not but concentrated aether now. Worry not, there are no others who have need of those lodgings, and they will not prove a hindrance to remain as they are. But more importantly, you said some few did answer your request for an audience, yes? I imagine they will be with us ere long. I've had no luck, but everyone else fared well enough. Quite a few Ea have awakened. Ah, there they are. May I introduce to you Lalak, Deek, and Neej. It has been too long, Kofkuj. I dare say Saturn IV has since completed an orbit. Indeed, until the travelers brought it to my attention, I hadn't noticed how unraveled some had become. Travelers? Oh, of course, the ones who wish to know why we seek to regain corporeal forms. The truth of the matter is as plain to see as the neighboring systems, but my single account would fail to satisfy the requirement for scientific objectivity. Thus did I bid them awaken you.
Am I the only one who struggles to tell who is speaking? Nay, thou art not. In the absence of corporeal forms, the divergence they afford, mayhap such similarity in voice is unavoidable. Oh, they sound the same.
By the way, Kuj, have you already observed the requisite custom for the travelers? That which one is expected to do when receiving guests? A matter of proper form. Ah, yes. So long has it been, it has completely escaped my mind, and still does. What was it again? I can't seem to remember. Neither do I. Pity, I was hoping you would. Perhaps we can search the archives for the answer. Come now, Neej. The archives have long been frozen, lest we subject ourselves to further dolor. Surely you recall that much. Ah, of course, food. The custom is to serve food. Beings of flesh such as they must regularly replenish their aether. By contributing their replenishment, we communicate our friendly intention. That's right! We duly invite you to join us in communal repast, after which we may engage in leisurely conversation.
If we had a chance to learn something, then I see no reason to decline.
Excellent! If you would care to follow, we shall feast you on the purest aether.
Oh, quite a few of them are awake. Okay.
This facility is where we replenish our aether. There is no particular name for it, but we traditionalists sometimes use the word restaurant. Now then, if you would take your place with your comrades, the space will soon be awash with the purest aether. Please absorb as much as you like.
Interesting. We were told to stand wherever we like. This strikes me as less of a meal and more a ritual. Judging by the construction of this facility, it would seem the Ea directly draw upon the aether.
Aether, they said, but I can't help but feel a bit nervous.
Yeah, this looks sus. If they are thus able to replenish their aether, the loss of vital sustenance isn't like to be the cause of their demise. They've completely fulfilled their lifespan? They've pursued all knowledge? If it is as I suspect, then this so-called feast... Actually, let us just see it for ourselves. Fear not, we are not like to come to harm. You brace yourself for a rush of sweet, sweet aether, but nothing seems to happen. Perhaps you need to wait a little longer. You brace yourself again, but again nothing seems to happen. Just as I suspected, as meticulous as one might recreate the Ea's home world, this is Ultima Thule. One cannot simply generate aether here. As recreations, our friends are oblivious to this fact, to the very truth of their existence, much like the phantoms of the recreated Amarat. However appearances may seem, we must ever be mindful that it is the memories of the dead with whom we deal.
So, did you have your fill of aether?
Alas, we couldn't absorb it, a deficiency in our forms, it would seem.
Oh, how unfortunate! May I ask how you normally replenish your aether?
We eat food. We put them in our mouths.
Through your mouths, you say? How very primitive and quaint! To think that their mouths serve not only to expel sound, but draw in sustenance besides. Such life forms have long since vanished from our systems.
Though we regrettably could not partake of your magnificent feast, rest assured, we feel your welcome most keenly. In the course of acquainting ourselves with your sophisticated ways, however, we would not fail but wonder, wherefore do you wish to obtain vessels of flesh, and thence to vanish?
Will you not favor us with your explanation?
You flesh and blood beings are always so hasty. It does have its charm, however. Very well, we shall indulge you. In the beginning, when Aeists yet possessed corporeal bodies, our ancestors dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge and technological advancement.
As I thought. They've come up with everything that they need to, and they've basically run out of the will to learn anymore. They've completed, they're completely satisfactory.
By transcending all limitations, we believe we would eliminate sorrow and abide in true happiness.
They sought perfection.
From the tangible, such as land, to the intangible, such as labor, there exist myriad hindrances to progress, but the most confining of all was the flesh itself. Our natural lifespan was distressingly middling, you see. Too short to enjoy unhurried lives, yet too long to be considered disposable. Furthermore, to simply maintain the integrity of our bodies demanded considerable resources. But we managed to solve this problem. After long years, we discovered how to become non-corporeal entities with everlasting lives, untroubled by the failures of the flesh.
But then they do nothing.
Thus changed, we had more time and freedom to continue our scientific pursuits. We went on to make ever greater strides in our quest to transcend all limitations, until we finally decided to challenge the last of them all, the limit of knowledge.
I feel like it's Y'shtola. Y'shtola will be next, because it's about knowledge. So this makes sense for Y'shtola.
That is to say, deciphering the laws of creation.
Or it could be Graha.
We sought to discover how the universe came into being and explain all extant phenomena, and thence predict the future. If we could but achieve this, we believe that we would be free from uncertainty and anxiety.
And did you find the answers you sought?
Yes, we did. Our efforts revealed to us a fundamental truth. Knowledge of said truth is essential for the continuation of our conversation. If you would learn more, we will share it with you. No, we mustn't. Primitive as they are, it would be unspeakably cruel to deprive them of their ignorance. They are possessed of corporeal forms, their lives readily ended. As those who have gone before, is it not our duty to warn them?
What thinkest thou?
We have deliberated and come to a consensus. If you are resolved to know it, we will disclose to you the truth we discovered, the truth of the universe. Seek us at the stone pillars just outside the bounds of the abode, a place called Allegia.
Like her master, Y'shtola, seeketh the truth of creation. How will the truth of the Ea, who uncovered all only to desire the end, fall upon her ears? It's Y'shtola, it's her turn. To define the laws of creation would have been no small feat, even for the Ea, nay, having eternal life, and hence no sense of haste, would only have made it harder. I mean, that's sort of like what Fandaniel, such tremendous drive for knowledge they once must have had, and I struggled to reconcile it was the listless beings before us. Whatever answers they found did not bring them happiness. Nope.
You may be intimately familiar with a problem, know it like the back of your hand, yet be powerless to solve it. In the course of my struggles, I've often been made keenly aware of this fact. I wonder, have the Ea never felt the same frustration?
'Tis true the lack of knowledge can beget fear. Therefore, in theory, by acquiring all knowledge, it may be possible to attain peace. But as Hydaelyn told us, all those people who attempted to free their worlds from life's woes met with failure. And the Ea are among them, as their presence here attests. The tale we are about to hear will not be a happy one. Yep, definitely. A fundamental truth. We will hear it, of course. Let us learn what has led such an enlightened people to this indolent end. Before we hear the climax of the Ea's tale, mayhap I should speak of... Second thought, it would only be a distraction. We'll take more when the time is right. Where knowledge leads. I love that it's the infinity symbol.
I said, welcome to my world.